Alright, it's almost 9:30 in the morning, I haven't slept, and we're starting off with making Windows 10 look pretty. So this is a clean install of Windows 10. You can see that I don't have any of the display, anything set up for the bottom screen. All I've done is clean install of Windows 10, and I've installed the bare minimum of the apps that I use. So Steam, OBS, Firefox, as well as the drivers and everything for this laptop from Asus. So now the first thing that I want to do is actually use OBS, but you can see that we have the infamous black screen. So a quick fix for this is right click, display settings, go all the way to the bottom, go to graphic settings. Then in here, this is a developer build of Windows, so it might be a little bit different. So you have like the classic apps or whatever, and then the Microsoft Store. This one here says desktop app, so that's what we're going to be picking for this one. We're going to go to browse, and now in here we can select the hard drive, and then program files, because we're using the 64-bit version of OBS. So program files, OBS Studio, and then we're going to go to bin 64-bit OBS 64. We're going to open that. And then down here, we're gonna go to the options, and we're gonna force this to only use the Intel graphics. So now we're gonna save, we can close this, we can reopen OBS, and now it works. Would you look at that? So now that OBS is started, we can get rid of all these icons here, empty the recycle bin. I'm going to just kind of quickly go through what I've already covered in other videos of just cleaning this up and getting rid of everything that I don't use. So we're going to clear those notifications. I don't want to show notifications. Going to remove Cortana, remove task view button. Don't need the ink space. Hide the search and get rid of Microsoft Mail. I'm not going to be using Edge because I'm actually going to use this operating system, and I use Firefox because Microsoft Edge does not have sync on Linux, so there's no point for me to use it, although once they implement it, I'm probably just going to use Edge because it's significantly lighter than Firefox. So we can unpin that, go to Firefox, drag that down here, add that, perfect. Remove all of these, so we're just going to unpin everything for now. I will go through and uninstall everything at a later point. Clearly we just glitched out there because developer preview. I also don't have hardware acceleration enabled right now. That's why there's a lot of slowdown. I kind of speeding up a little bit there. We can go to the personalization, and in here we're going to change the wallpaper with the one that I've already gotten ready. As for colors, we're just going to pick the dark mode, obviously, always. Gray, lock screen, just a standard picture, same wallpaper, and then just disable everything. I don't want to show anything there. Themes, I'm going to turn off the recycle bin so that way it's not on the desktop. I'm going to go to start, I'm going to uncheck everything there, go down, turn the icons on or off. I'm going to hide the input indicator because I'm not going to be using the action center, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now we can go back to the home area for the settings, go to system. I'm going to go to the notifications here, and we're just going to uncheck everything. Uncheck it all. I don't want notifications for anything, so just in case those accidentally get re-enabled, they're still not going to turn everything back on. And then lastly, for tablet mode, I'm going to make sure that it never switches to tablet mode. Okay, so that's good, that's done. I'm going to right click here, go to view, and I'm going to uncheck show desktop icons, so that way if anything does put something on the desktop, it's just never going to show up, so the desktop will always remain clear. Now, one thing, I'm actually going to stop OBS, actually, okay, so we're going to type in user account control settings. So right here, I'm going to drag this all the way down. That's going to get rid of that annoying pop-up that comes up, but the last time I was using OBS, it glitched out, so I'm going to turn OBS off. And now we're back to the camera here, so I'm going to click OK, and then this screen right here, that annoying thing, this is never going to come up again now that we've turned that off. So now I can start OBS again, and it should actually work properly. We're running. Okay, so everything's back and working correctly. I'm not going to be using everything that's in here just because this is the setup that I want to do. Actually, here's a few more things. I'm going to switch that to this PC, get rid of the frequently used apps, get rid of this, go here, perfect. Okay, now that we're in here, we can go to downloads, and right here in this folder here. I'm gonna have everything linked in the description for where to actually download all of this. As you can see, I'm working on links to get all of the files to you. We're going to be installing a theme. I haven't decided which one. These are 4 that I liked, so I'm going to test between all 4 of them to see which one I like the best. And then as for the tools, the Nexus Dock, I don't think I'm going to end up actually using this just with the setup that I want to do. OldNewExplorer, I love that. It makes this very minimalist. Rain meter, we're probably not going to look into that either. I'll probably do a separate video with both of these because there is a little bit more setup for both of them to get working, but for this setup specifically, I'm only going to be using Windows for gaming and anything Samsung related where I can't do it on Linux. So I'm still trying to keep this very minimal. TaskbarX is an awesome tool. I don't know why I have a rain meter skin, so I can get rid of that. Now, these 2 tools here, this one here, theme tool, this is a secure boot enabled UX visual style theme patcher. If you use secure boot, you're going to want to use this one here. If you don't use secure boot, then you can use just the generic UXThemePatcher that everyone uses online. Now, the only difference between these is sometimes after updates, this will restore back to factory colors, which is just like the Microsoft Blue or whatever the factory color you have set with your Microsoft account if you signed in with a Microsoft account. So if you have, say the regular accent color, right now I've set it to gray, but if you have the accent color set to red or something and then you have a theme that has a lot of blue on it and then you do a Windows update, the accent color might reset back to red and then you just have to manually change it back. So you can still use this one. There's no issues with it at all other than that slight bug. But if that's something that will bother you, then use this one with secure boot. This one is the most versatile, universal one. This one is specifically for if you use secure boot. And that one issue of the color resetting after major Windows updates is going to bother you. So I'm going to be using this one. I don't use secure boot because I dual boot with Linux. Before I get into this is specifically for this laptop, the Zephyrus Duo. If we go back to downloads here, I'm just going to show you quick with Windows updates. If we go to updates, it says here there were problems installing some updates, but we'll try again. And this never goes away because what it's trying to do right now is Microsoft is trying to install Intel Wi-Fi drivers for this laptop, but because this has Wi-Fi 6 and everything, the drivers that Microsoft is trying to install are not the best drivers for this Wi-Fi card. So it won't forcefully install an older Wi-Fi driver, which is good. However, we can't get any further Windows updates until this installs that driver. So what we need to do is we'll just close all this first. We're going to go here, type in service, and we're going to open services. In here, just start typing Windows Update, and we're going to, oh, it's already not running, but you would normally hit stop. So if Windows Update is running, you hit stop, that completely stops it from running. And then we're going to go into File Explorer, go to the hard drive, go to Windows, and then in here, start typing in software distribution. And in here, just delete everything. Then we can go to the recycle bin, empty the recycle bin. So now all of the Windows Update information is gone. Now we can open this program here, which will allow you to hide Windows updates. And every update that's about to come up on this is an update that's either older or not compatible with this laptop, because I've done every single Windows update until this point, as well as all of the drivers directly from ASUS. So everything that's about to be found here, none of these are compatible or they're all too old for this computer. So we're going to select everything here, every single one of these, except this security update. For some reason that actually shouldn't be, but the Intel drivers and the Asus Tech drivers. And now we can click next. So that was a perfect example of how I wasn't getting Windows updates because it was trying to install these out of date or incompatible drivers, and there was an update for Windows Defender. And I wasn't getting it because of this issue here. So now that that's taken care of, we're no longer going to get any of those updates that it was trying to install. So now we're on the latest ones that are actually supported for this laptop. Now we can go to Windows updates, and now when we search, it should find the latest updates for this, which is right here, the Windows Defender antivirus update. So I'm gonna let that go while we go back to here. So now in here, we're going to go to the tools and we're going to install UXThemePatcher, or like I said previously, theme tool if you're running secure boot. Okay, next, install. The install is complete. Next, we will restart in a minute, so I'm going to manually reboot later. Now we can do TaskbarX, and we're going to be opening the application right here. Run that. More info and run anyway, because this is not certified. And as you can see, as soon as it opened up there, it moved all of the applications over to the middle. So now we're going to be utilizing the entire taskbar at the bottom here. So system ones are over here, all of the applications are here, and then all of the taskbar icons are over here, which I'm going to clean up even further later. So this is a developer build, so it's just saying that it may not be supported, but it'll be fine. Okay, so now with it running, you can see that everything's working. We can open the TaskbarX configurator, and now in here is where we get to have all of the fun. So the styles, we can make it completely transparent. So now the entire thing is gone, and you can see that it's just completely transparent all the way across the bottom. We'll do transparent gradient, just to show you the differences here between them all. So now this is more like the factory transparency one, completely clear rather than blurred. This one here is basically like the non-transparent one, except you get darker colors. Then we have blur, which is also a pretty good one. This is more like the factory one, but with slightly more transparency, and you can also adjust the transparency yourself. And then acrylic is basically like the factory Microsoft one, where it's completely blurred out all the way across the bottom. So I'm gonna pick this one here where the blur is a lot more subtle, so you can actually see a lot more behind it. And I'm just gonna bring the alpha channel down from 50 to 25%, so that way it's a little bit more clear. Now we can go over to animations. I'm actually not going to adjust any of this. The only thing that I will end up adjusting later is the animation speed, but I'm gonna be playing with that a lot more, so there's gonna be more into this, but you can just change the animation speed. So that would be there. We could do like 500, it's a lot slower, or like 150, so it's super snappy. So I'm going to, actually, you know what? No, that was pretty good. I'm gonna leave it at 150. I'm not gonna mess around too much. Now we can change where all of these go. However, again, I'm not gonna mess with any of that, keeping it very simple. So this, as it says right here, the task schedule is responsible for making TaskbarX run at startup and also stores your settings. So this is just a 6-second delay from when the computer starts that this will boot. So it's just allowing other programs to start up before this takes place, so that way it's not a resource hog. But there's not a huge issue for me because I'm literally just gonna be using this for gaming, and I'm making this look neat primarily for this YouTube video. So I'm really not gonna be looking at this that much, so this doesn't matter. I'm not gonna change anything there. Okay, and then here you have other options for having a second taskbar, as well as hiding other options. And about is just the information on this app, check for updates, things like that, and uninstall. So essentially what we're doing here is we're mostly just using this right here, where we get to make this clear, as well as having the icons in the middle, and we made the animations a little bit faster. But you can change positions of things, change the extra settings, go through different animations and everything. So there's tons of possibilities here, none of which I'm going to be using other than those two settings right here. So that's it. We can close this, and now we have a nice dock right here, and as you can see there, it auto centers as soon as you remove something from it. So these updates are done, so we can close this. Now if you watch down here, it's going to remove this from it, and then it'll auto recenter, just like that. So it'll always stay centered no matter what. Now for here, I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to go back to the personalization, go to the taskbar, and now I'm going to select which ones appear. So right now I can turn the microphone off, but it's still here in this menu. So I'm going to change all of that so it's in this menu. Do the power, network, and volume. So now we only have everything in this menu and nothing else that actually shows. I'll leave all of that there. Perfect. So now everything is turned off. So now none of the icons are actually showing. In this one pop-up notification window right here, we have all of our apps and everything in the corner. And then we have the start button over here, which everything has been removed from there. Back to our downloads folder here, and under tools, we have OldNewExplorer. I'm actually gonna need 7-zip to open this. Okay, so 7-zip is installed. So we're gonna open the RAR file, OldNewExplorer. I'm just gonna take all these files, drag them over there for now. We're keeping it messy because I'm gonna be moving everything after. We're gonna open OldNewExplorer configurator right here, and we're just going to check this box under appearance. And we're only gonna keep these top 3 selected right here. And now we can install the shell extension, and that's good. So now we can close that, close that. We're gonna go here, I'm gonna open 2 of these. And we can go to downloads, static, themes. So these are the themes here. So we're gonna go to the hard drive, the NVMe or whatever. We're gonna go to Windows. Now we're just gonna start typing in resources, which is right here. And then in here we have the themes folder. Now in here, you can just take one of these themes here. I'll just do like the first brighter text. Sure, so we're just gonna take this, drag it over, continue, everything's good. We can just open this, and that's going to apply it, which is right here. Close all this. I will stop this. So now we are back out here, and I'm going to restart the computer. Okay, do 4 into safe mode. Okay, well, this is why you don't stay up for 25 hours straight trying to get all of these YouTube videos done, because I can't even get into safe mode now, so now I have to wipe it and I have to start over. I'll be back in a few hours and we can continue from where we left off. Okay, so we are back. It's 11 a.m. The issue ended up being the UXThemePatcher. That just doesn't work on Windows 2009 or up, at least not yet. There's been no update for it to make it work, so I had to use the Secure Boot version, and in here you actually apply the themes through here, so it's a little bit different. I had to play around with it and everything to get it all figured out. But now that I do have it figured out, before we open this, we're going to right click on it. We're going to go to Properties. I'm going to go to Compatibility, the tab up here at the top, and we're going to go and run this as administrator every time, because it always needs to run as administrator. So now we can open it, yes, so we can install this. We're not going to touch any of these here. So now we can install this. Okay, so now it's restarting. Okay, that's done. So now we can go back and we can open this again. And now you can see that the patcher has installed everything. So everything is patched, so we can do whatever we want here. We're only going to be using like the regular settings here. What we need to do is install the theme. So the themes are going to be going into, and now in here, we're just gonna drag and drop the themes as we find fit. Now I was playing around with some of the themes, so we can actually get rid of this one here. So now we can go back here, go to the themes folder. We had the dev themes with the lighter font, brighter text, these ones. So we will copy all of these over, gray ones and theme, and we'll copy all these ones over. Okay, so now that we have all of those in there, now we can close this and we just have to reopen it. So tools, theme tool, yes, and now you can see all the themes are here. So we don't need this anymore, so we can actually just go back, so that way we can see the icon differences that are going to come up right here, because these are going to change the layouts a little bit. So one of them was RC, this one here for rounded corners. That one was kind of neat, so we can do that. I don't believe this one had rounded corners as an option, so I'll show you this one first. I'm also gonna have to stop OBS again because it's gonna log out. So let's apply this one. Now it does take a minute to actually load it because it's patching it while it's applying it. So you can see things are slowly changing. So this one wasn't too bad because it fits nicely with the Microsoft theme. Everything kind of works out and it just changes everything to gray and like muted red, so everything is really dull, which matches the wallpaper nicely. So that was one choice, and then the second is this rounded corner one, which also has a muted red tone to it on the close button, but it's also more of a blue theme. So when it loads the rest of this, there, just loaded the rest of it there. So now we can see that everything is rounded, has little rounded corners on everything, as well as a muted red color close button there. All right, so that one's not bad. Really on the fence between both of these, but you can see when you open this, it's a completely different color because it doesn't skin this section unless we use start as back. We actually changed this to the old layout, which might be what I have to do in order to get this to match properly. So we can install start as back. I don't have it in this pack, so I'm gonna have to include it. Okay, so we have installed start as back. Let's see what happens here. So we can configure, let's see, what are we gonna do here? Theme that matches these icons here. I actually think these packs had icons for this. So this one here was the dev pack. So if we go to folder where all of this lives, themes, the dev pack here. So we'll actually just drag this one out into the themes folder so that way it's out. Start orb. So we actually do have them. All of those look terrible. What was it, the dark ones? Yeah, these ones are kind of neat. So let's introduce these. Bring those to the theme. Start is back. There's a whole theme for that. Okay, so now we have more start orbs here, so we can actually change these around a little bit. So now the color applied to this, and now it all matches a lot better. So that's good. So now as for these icon here, the classic. Okay, now that we have the theme set, let's get rid of these icons again, hide that. I'm going to remove the rest of this, clean this up, unpin that. We're going to settings. Okay, let's go back to the gray theme because this is not working. So let's go to downloads. Turns out that Start is Back is a paid app, so I'm not going to use that. You only get a 30-day trial, and I can't recommend people do this on an app that you're eventually going to have to buy, so we're going to remove this. And I need to get rid of the watermark, which is going to log me out. Okay, so that's good. Now lastly, I just have to fix the displays. Scale that one. Okay, we definitely have some scaling issues here. Now what we're going to do is open a PowerShell, and we want to first of all change this disgusting color to black and green text. Perfect. So now we're going to type in set execution policy, remote, signed, scope, current user, and A for yes to all. That's good. Now we want to actually install scope, which is invoke, expression, and bracket, new, object, system.net. I just realized OBS wasn't running, so let's start that back up. System.net.webClient, bracket, dot, download string, bracket, https, :// get scoop.sh. Okay, so it's downloading Scoop. Everything seems to be good. Scoop was installed successfully. Perfect. Okay, so now we have to install Git by doing scoop install Git. And finally, scoop install NeoFetch. Awesome. Let's open a different PowerShell here. Now we just type in NeoFetch. And there's all of our information. There we go. That's it. It's finally done. After countless hours, I think just on this alone, not including the prior research actually to figuring it all out, this took me about 3 hours to set up, but that also included completely messing it up because I was using the wrong UXThemePatcher, which I later ended up clearing up. I had to completely wipe the entire computer and I had to reinstall Windows with all the drivers and everything because I didn't set a restore point, which I highly recommend you set up a restore point before you start messing around with stuff like this, because as you can see, it can go south very quickly because Windows is a lot less forgiving than Linux. If you mess something up, you pretty much messed up everything. It's very hard to recover from. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that. It's definitely a lot of fun to do stuff like this, customizing and changing it in slight ways to make it feel completely new. It definitely gets a lot of new life out of an old stale operating system, which is why I love Linux, because you can change it so rapidly. But on Windows, you can do a lot of customization still. And maybe at a later date, I'll actually get into the Nexus launcher, as well as Rainmeter, where we can actually set widgets and stuff on the actual desktop itself, as well as interactive docks and everything. But for the most part, I like the way Windows is laid out. I like this setup where it has the taskbar at the bottom that's always there. It's not moving around, it's not animated. I like that about Windows. It's very solid. Everything is square, nice hard edges. That to me is Windows. So as far as I'm concerned, this is done, and I don't really want to mess with anything else after this. maybe alter the colors in PowerShell just to make them a little bit less offensive to the eyes. But like I said earlier, this is only for gaming and very specific software that I have to run only on Windows because there is no Linux alternative. Like again mentioned in other videos, software for flashing Samsung phones like Odin, because as far as I know, there's no alternative on Linux that can flash factory firmware images onto Samsung phones. So you at least need Windows for that. Everything else is going to be done on Linux still. So that's where I'm going to be spending most of my time. But now this is a little bit prettier, so maybe if I'm on it doing something, I won't be so suggestive to myself to switch back to Linux, as this has some eye candy going on. But I don't know, if you got something out of this, you thought it was pretty cool, you know, like the video. If not, then dislike the video. Leave a comment down below if there's something else I could have done, maybe some different themes or something I could try. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because that's super cool. That always helps out. Or, you know, don't do any of it. I'm not telling you what to do.